This is Brother Dawood coming to you again with the Woman of Virtue, Part 3. Question: did she transgress the oral law in any way? Think about it. Let's continue. 19. And she arose, washed herself up. She was probably humming. In the humming sounds, she was saying in all reality, I got me a seed from Yahuda. And she went home. She took off the veil, and she put back on the garments of her widowhood. Oh, she played the role. 20. And Yahuda sent the kid by the hand of his friend the Adulamite to receive his pledge from the woman's hand. But he found her not. Grandpa, did you really think that you would find her? You thought she was a prostitute. You gave her enough things to start her whole life over. Praise be to Yahuda. The prostitute was Tamar. 21. Then the Adulamite asked the men of that place, and he said, where is the harlot that was openly by the wayside? And they said, there's no harlot in this place. If you're looking for harlots, you have to go all the way up the road to where the sheep shearers convention is. All of the harlots congregate over there. 22. And he returned to Yahuda and said, man, I couldn't find her. And also the men of that city in that place said, there was no harlot in this place. I know Yahuda began to tremble. He probably said, man, I fell for the Nigerian scam. I gave them my account number. Now all of my money is missing. 23. For Yahuda said, let her take it to her. No, the translator failed here. Fails quite a bit. You have to be able to correct the translator. How can you do that? It's called context. For Yahuda said, let Heyara, the Adulamite, take the kid of the goats to her, lest we be ashamed. We? Grandpa, you purchased the prostitute. How can the rest of us be ashamed? If the head of the house is ashamed, so is everyone he covers. For behold, I did send this kid of the goats, and yet you didn't find her. 24. And it came to pass, about 3 months later, that one of the servants come running to Yahuda. Yahuda! Yahuda! And he said, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, she's played the harlot. Yahuda said, how do you know that? Well, behold, she is with child by whoredom. She was supposed to stay the widow in her father's house until Shalah is born. In other words, she was not to sleep with anyone else. And according to the oral tradition, the only way that she can get a seed is through one of the family members. Let's continue. And Yahuda said, bring her forth, and let her be burnt. Let me get rid of this thorn that is in my side once and for all. 25. When she was brought forth, she sent to her father-in-law. She said, please bring Yahuda, because they are asking me, where is the man that I committed whoredom with? Could you bring my father-in-law here, please? And she said, when her father-in-law arrived, by the man, this man that went into me and gave me a child, these items belong to him. Through him, I am with the child. And she said, could you discern? Could you figure out? I pray. Whose items are these? The signet, the bracelets, and the staff. Uh-oh. 26. And Yahuda looked at the items. He said, oh man, I'm exposed. I'm ashamed. But only Hiyara really knows what is happening here. Everyone else is looking. They have their mouths wide open. They're asking questions. How did she get Yahuda's signet, his bracelets, and his staff? What is happening here? And he said, she has been more righteous than I. That is a proclamation. Righteous? What is the definition of righteous? Keeping divine law. In this case, the oral traditions. Who transgressed the law? Was it Tamar or Yahuda? Well, listen to his confession. Because that I gave her not to Shelah, my son, which is the tradition passed down from Jacob to you, and he knew her again no more. He was also a participant in blotting out his name from the land, trying to protect Shelah. 27. And it came to pass, in the time of her travail, she's about to give birth, that behold, twins were in her womb. Oh, wow. Brothers, Yahuda always hits the mark. His magic wand is working perfectly. I wonder how old he was at this time. 28. And it came to pass, when she travailed, that the one put out his hand, the first one who came from the vaginal canal, he put his hand out. And the midwife says, oh, look, here's the first one. So she bound up his hand with a scarlet thread, saying, this is the mark for the one who comes out first. 29. And it came to pass that he drew his hand back in. And behold, his brother came out. And she said, how has this one broken forth? This breach be upon you. Therefore his name was called Parat, Ban Ar. You see R's name in Parat? His name shall not be wiped out from the land. This name comes all the way down through the lineages to King David, King Daoud, all the way to Yahushua HaMashiach. Do you see what Mr. White was trying to do by introducing a seed into the Virgin Mary to bypass the line that comes from men and introduce a line that comes from the heavens? A fallen angel's story. 30. And afterwards came out his brother that had the scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zara. Look, there's R's name again in the second one. Let me explain something to you, ladies. When you have a seed and you have a male child, he is likened unto your husband. He will die for you. He will never forget you. You are his first love. Ayana, our little man, Uriah, that's your second husband. He will never leave you. He will never forsake you. He will always love you. No matter what you do, it would be unconditional. So you see, our sister here, Tamar, first, she had no husband. Now look, she has two. This reminds me of something that I read in Genesis. Through childbearing, she shall be saved. Continue to part 4. Shalom.